on a different call, but I just wanted to say hi. And I'm excited about you being here, Michelle. This is cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
I didn't think she'd get it in that quick. That was you
That's
literally slightly
really
mentioned it.
cool.
Here they come. Jimmy Ryan and Michelle. What the hell?
I have a whole story about this song, which is why I said it, but this is fun.
Oh, gotta hear the story.
Yeah.
All right, those of you coming in, get on chat. Tell us where you're from. Make this happen. Picking button 2025, and we're bringing rock stars like Jimmy and Michelle in. We're learning how to prospect through social media the right way. We all know we need to do it. Let's do it. Nobody? There we go. Oh, hey, all right. Here we go. Jimmy jumping in. This is an engagement-friendly call, as it is every week.
Yeah.
You're full.
Okay, I'm in Clarksville,
Yo,
Tennessee. Sonia, can you turn the music down? Now, ma'am.
oh, there's again. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
So I'm just teaming up this awesome group here today. You know, our calls every week, we bring in the best, our rock stars from our Momentum Builder community. And we're excited because we have our longtime host and good friend, Jimmy Ryan, running the show today. And he's brought in Michelle Berman today, who's going to teach you all about like the real way to prospect through social media, because a lot of us have challenges. So we brought the rock star in the house. And today's going to be a great call. So thank you for joining us. But make sure you engage. There's these little reaction buttons here. Let's see. I know a lot of you know how to use them. Let's see some thumbs up, some hearts. Just to make sure, because engagement makes us engage more, gives us energy, gives you energy. So let's make this an engagement friendly podcast. And I'm gonna tee this up to Jimmy, who is our man. He's our interviewer extraordinaire for many years, and at our Momentum Builder events, and soon at our Sales Mastery event coming up in October. If you are on the call haven't heard, Momentum Builder and Sales Mastery are coming together as one big event, October 14th through the 17th. And Sonia and I and Gino just reviewed the location. Oh, it's going to be an experience of a lifetime. That is for sure. Without further ado, I'm stepping back and handing over the mic to Mr. Jimmy Ryan.
All right, what's up, everybody? So, Sales Mastery, yeah, brought to you by, powered by Momentum Builder. I think that this is an awesome time for it, and it's going to be an epic event. I have been to this venue before. Actually, I went to it for an Amplify, and with our dear friend Renee Rodriguez, and it's epic. I mean, it's just the whole entire area is just awesome. What is it? What is it called again? I forget. It's the Hyatt at what?
It's the Dallas Hyatt
It's just the
Regency.
Dallas Hyatt. So if you're from Dallas, you know what it is, but it's like this huge big tower. You can go up into the top of it, view the whole city. There's like a restaurant in there. Super cool. And without further ado, I want to welcome Michelle Berman, also a longtime friend. And I would call her, without talking to her quick before, like, hey, how do you want me to introduce you? And I know you as just an Instagram expert, but social media is great at getting attention. That's cool. But what she was talking to me about, and this is what I know that she is an expert at, is prospecting on social. And getting attention is one thing, but if you can also convert attention into leads and engagement that converts into business, well, then that's what makes social media worth it. You can't just post and run your business off of hopium. That doesn't work. You have to actually convert the attention that you are getting into leads, into names, numbers, and people that want to engage with you. And Michelle and her team you guys are experts at that. And I want to welcome you to the show. What's up, Michelle?
Well, thank you for having me. This is like my favorite thing in the world to do, and getting to spend some time with you, Jimmy, is always a good time. So The story, behind the Bring 'Em Out song, I think is a fun way to tee that up. And it was really cool of Sony to do that. So thank you. But I swam for 20 plus years for most of my childhood, and that was my walkout song. So every time I'd make a final event, you'd have to put like the name of your favorite song on there, like the final heat, like the top 8. You get to choose your song, and that was mine. So it means a lot to me. It's been part of my life for a really long time. So it's sort of special, but I feel like everyone has that song that just like makes them hype, and that's for sure mine.
So what are we going to talk about today? And wait, before I do that, do we have links? Sony, can you put some links for to follow Michelle on social? I think that's a great way to stay connected. And if you want to throw mine as well, go ahead. Otherwise, we'll forget to say it.
Yep, I'll have a QR code in here for you guys here in just a moment if you want to go that route. Or Sonia is in the chat as well, and then one of my assistants and my executive assistant, they're both actually in the chat, so they can do both.
Sounds good. That's perfect. And just so you know too, this is interactive. So if you're watching this, like ask questions, be active in the chat. If you're watching us on our Facebook group, please type in a question, or just, I don't know, throw us a like, say, hey, what's up? We want some more interaction, and we want to keep this engaging, not just a presentation. We want to make this for everybody. Let's win. Let's grow. Let's learn something. And Michelle's awesome at is truly a social media expert. So Michelle, what are we talking about today?
I love it. Thank you, Jimmy. The big conversation I really want to have today is something that has been a really, really massive unlock for me personally over the last year. I actually work with Renee personally as my private coach, and it's been really fun over the last year to have that time with him in that capacity. But I just have been in the business long enough now where some things have happened to me, right? Some stories that I can share and some experiences that I have that have made an impact in the relationships that I have, the way that I interact with people, the way people see and view me, the way people even introduce me has changed, right? And all of that is because of the power of how I shake someone's hand. And so I think that this really transitions into what I noticed in 2024 and what I believe to be sort of I don't want to say foreshadow of what 2025 would look like, but really the forecast of what I wanted and felt like people needed to start paying attention to in the new year. But we'll get into that in just a second. The power of your handshake, what that is, hey, Jimmy, what do you do for a living? And how do you answer that question? You did a really good job at pivoting quickly in when I gave you mine, but that's the reality, right? Is like when someone shakes your hand, the first thing that they likely will say when they don't know who you are or haven't met you is, hey, what do you do for a living? Or, hey, what do you do? And most people, I don't want to say all, because that's a little bit too all-inclusive, but most don't know how to answer that question. And some people have been in the business for a year. Some people have been in the business for 30 years, and they still can't answer that question in a way that doesn't just add to the noise in the room. And social, if you are on it or not, you need to be, right? If you're not on it, you need to figure out how to get onto it. If you are already on it, you likely have some bad habits that need undone. Welcome to the show today. Like, let's undo the bad habits. But the reality is the first impression that you give when someone consumes your social, the number one question you need to ask yourself is, are you who you say you are, right? So is your content a reflection of who you are as a person? And does it correlate to how you answer the question of what do you do for a living? Because if you answer it a certain way and I go to your platform and it's not reflected, that's an issue. If I go to your platform and I don't know why I would hire you over someone else, that's also an issue. So all of this correlates into this very powerful conversation of what does it mean to shake someone's hand and say, what do I do for a living? Or what do you do for a living? And again, I have, a lot that goes into that, and we're going to have a really good time here, hopefully going through all of this. And as Jimmy said, I am like wildly interactive. I want Jimmy to be on here with me, like bantering, because that's what Jimmy and I do. And I love it. If you have not heard Jimmy on my podcast, it was like one of my favorite podcast episodes because did we even work? I don't even know what we were doing for an hour and whatever, but it was fun. So just being able to have fun and be part of this with me, I'm really grateful for you, Jimmy. So, but as far as the screen here is concerned, QR code will take you directly to my Instagram. The handle there, Berman Media Social, will obviously be the name that you type in the search box if you want to go that route. But either way, that's the fastest and easiest way to do that. Sonia, thank you for putting all the links in the chat. You rock.
Yeah, for sure.
She is fast too. I love me.
I know, right?
Also.
Boom.
On the personal side, I always like to start with this because I feel like it's important to know who am I? Like what person is sitting here on camera with you talking to you about what I do for a living. And you know, I'm a real person. I wore this sweatshirt on purpose today because also one, it's butt cold here in Clarksville, Tennessee. It's like 32 degrees outside with a wind chill of like 15 degrees. So it is very cold. Even in my house, because my husband doesn't love using the heat. So we live in a very cold house all the time. So that's kind of touche. But on the personal side for me, I am an athlete. I've been an athlete almost my entire life. I started competitively swimming at the age of 4. So we'll talk about that. There is some things that you guys will be able to correlate into that. I now CrossFit haphazardly. I used to be a competitive CrossFitter, competed for about 7 years before retiring to have my son. And now I actually do a lot of running. So I'm in the middle of kind of competing sort of on the CrossFit side, more so for fun with my mom friends, like locally. And then I am doing a lot of half marathons. So I actually have another one here at about a month. I do about 6 or so a year. Not too many more than that because I need to be able to train properly to be able to do them. And then my husband is actually a strength and conditioning coach for the military. So he is prior SF, which is why we live here in Clarksville. And now he is the strength and conditioning coach for the guys going into special forces or trying to go into selection. So we'd work out a lot in my house. My husband literally gets to work out for a living, which kind of makes me jealous because I'm on Zoom all day. But the reality of it is I'm just a mom. I'm just a wife. I'm just a normal person, just like you guys doing what I do. I have a 3-year-old. His name is Knox. He's the best thing ever made, truly. And I don't say that lightly. He really is my favorite. If you go to my social, you'll see lots of Knox because he's way cooler than me. But the real story behind today is why did I become who I am now? How did I earn the right to sit in the seat that I am lucky enough to have or to be in? And all of that is correlated to my superpower, which is teaching you guys how to understand the power of leverage through social, or how you can use it through social to be able to create opportunity for yourself. So we'll start there. Have you thought about your handshake lately? So Jimmy, I'm going to use you, obviously. And Dawn, I don't know if you want to come on, but this would be cool for you to do it with us. But have you thought about your handshake lately? Right? So Jimmy, if I were to shake your hand right now, you can say it out loud. What does Jimmy do for a living?
You know, I was thinking about this as you did it, and I'm just like, I'm in my head about it. So I'm like, literally, I'm questioning it. Like, okay, this is going to be really good because I knew you're going to ask and put me on the spot. I help people get more efficient and more effective by leveraging their CRM with lead management. I think that's the best way to say it. Butcher me.
No, I think that I want you to write it down, right? So have it written down because this is an exercise that everyone's going to get to do with me. This is one of my favorite things to do in a big room. Like last week I got to keynote at a big mortgage event in Orlando, which was really fun. And this was really cool to be able to do in a room with a lot of people everywhere. Like I was really surprised at how it went, but it actually went even better than I expected. So I want you guys to figuratively or like imaginatively, or even do it later when your spouses are home, do it with your dog, whatever feels right. But answer this question, pretend like you're standing up and shaking someone's hand and answering this question as if you were doing it in real time, and then write it down. Because as we work through what we're going to work through here, you'll see how this is going to change everything. Because your ability to answer this question becomes the foundation of how you produce content and what you post, right? I would say the vast majority of the conversations I have on a daily basis are correlated or sort of related to the fact that they don't know what they should be posting. They have no idea what the content is that they should be putting out. And if they do know how to do or do know what to post, they don't really know why they're doing it, right? So it's either one or the other that is the issue. They typically either don't know what or don't know why. And usually both of them can be solved by answering this question well. So I like what you said, Jimmy. I like the word efficient. I like the word leverage. Leverage is my favorite word in the English dictionary for a reason. but truly like the specific words I think will come into play. So I don't recall the exact sentence you said, so I'm not going to regurgitate it, but I want you to write it down. And then as we go through this process, you guys will be able to make the adjustments. So everybody on here with us, there's a really good crew here. Write it down. What do you do for a living? How would you articulate it to someone? Practice, pretend, stand up, shake someone's hand in real time, talk to your dog and tell your dog what you do for a living, and then write it down. Now your handshake does truly help shape your content, because Jimmy, what you just said, right? You said efficient, and what was the other word that you used? The other E.
Effective.
Effective. So effective and efficient. How do we turn that into content? Right? The fastest, easiest way is, in my opinion, to literally show it on the screen, right? The best thing you could do would be to open your video with a hook talking about something related to efficiency or leverage, right? Good word. And then you flip the camera around and you show them on the screen, like you're pointing to it inside the CRM to show them what that means. Great hook on the video, flip the camera around and do it, right? Now, so having the phrasing is good. Having the execution is better, right? So we need to be able to do both. But the way that you answered that question helps shape your content, because now we create content based off of the conversation, that we're having when we actually shake someone's hand. So your problem or your issue with, I don't know what I should be posting, again, if you can figure out how to answer that question, we just did it in what, 2 minutes? Now you have ideas.
Well, it helps to shape the conversation, and like, look, I work at Shape. Would you,
no pun intended, yeah.
So I was just thinking about it. Like, do you think that you should put your company name in there? I almost think not. I think that it needs to be more of a personal brand type of a deal.
I think it depends on what your goals are with the platform, right? If it's your company, that's different. I think, if it's your own mortgage company, or if you're in the executive leadership, that's a different conversation.
Well, because most people on this call are mortgage loan officers, and when asked what I do, well, I do loans. Well, I'm a mortgage loan officer.
That's exactly why I'm doing this presentation, because that is almost all of their answers, and it's not how they should answer it.
And it's like, look, I help people save money on their mortgage. That's honestly light years. That's not that good, but that's light years better than I'm a loan officer. Or like, I help people close in 7 days or whatever. Like, I know that's super dumb. Don't use that, please. But I'm just saying that's better than saying
a lot of examples.
I'm a loan officer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I have a lot of examples specifically for a loan officer I'm working with in Houston right now. So I use him as a really good example, but I was just trying to use you as my guinea pig there on the sentence that you gave me. I want
to quick say this too, is that, our dear friend Arjun Dhingra, we're both pals with Arjun. And if you don't know who Arjun is, come on, you got to know who Arjun is. You know what he said? I watch his story regularly, and he's like, I had somebody message me and they said, hey, what's a good place that I could go get a mortgage from? You're doing all this mortgage content. Where should I go get a mortgage from? He's a freaking licensed loan officer. That's literally how he makes a living. So he had to start like making more content about, hey, I'm actually a loan officer. Sometimes, and I think that's just key, that sometimes you need to actually say what you do. Hey, I will fund a mortgage loan for you. Come talk to me, and not make it so complicated. So I think that there needs to be almost a balance as well, that maybe you're going to get into, and maybe hopefully I'm teeing you up for something.
Yeah. As far as the 4 pillars of content, if we have time, we're going to talk about one specifically today, which is my super special favorite one. It's called Value Series, which is the one that will allow you to solve the, I want to educate and I want to add value, but you're also being super boring and you're a mortgage talking head sitting behind your desk with your phone in your face person, right? Which we don't want to be. So we want to solve that problem while also educating and adding value, because that's probably the second biggest thing I hear on calls every week is, Michelle, I want to have a platform that adds value and that educates, but I don't want to be boring. And the Value Series concept, which is what we will hopefully get to here and talk about, is how we solve that problem. But you can't get to that. You can't create content with that solution in mind until you know who you are, right? So here's the story that I want to start with, or kind of the example in a better way of saying this is, when I first started doing this, I first started traveling. I didn't start speaking until 2022. 2023 was kind of like I don't want to say a breakout year for me, but it was a year where people started paying attention a little bit more. 2024, I really started picking up a lot more opportunities, and it was really cool. But what happened was something changed in how I delivered my message. And before, who I used to be, when someone would shake my hand and I'd say, oh, I own an Instagram marketing company. That's what my answer would be. And I remember an event very clearly. It was several years ago. I believe it was in 2022. So the first year that I started speaking, I was at an event, but I wasn't speaking at the event. I was just an attendee. And I'm at a mortgage conference, right? I'm just an attendee at a mortgage conference. People naturally are going to assume I do loans because I'm at a mortgage conference. So they say, Michelle, what company do you work for? And I immediately stopped and said, oh, well, actually, I own an Instagram marketing company, and I'm here meeting with some of the owners of some of these companies because they've asked me to be here to have some conversations with them. But what happened is all of a sudden they stopped paying attention to me. They would literally stop making eye contact with me. These people would almost stand up, look over me. Their eyes would be glazing all over the place. They were kind of darting around the room, doing everything they could essentially to avoid eye contact with me. And it was very, very uncomfortable. And it also felt like almost like they had a lack of respect for who I was. But in theory, I wasn't giving them anything to go off of, right? I wasn't giving them anything or a reason to stay involved in the conversation. So, and also funny to that is, most people think I'm quite tall. I've had most people say, you're probably 5'7", 5'8". That's my guess. I'm 5'3" on a good day. So I'm actually a very small human. And so when I'm at an event with these people, it's very easy for them to just look right over me. And that was what was happening quite tangibly. So I decided no more will I be looked over and ignored. So I had to change something. So saying I own an Instagram marketing company did not continue the conversation. It did not make people want to keep talking to me. And it really, really almost lit the fire in me in a way that I can't really describe without you guys being in my body. But you guys have all felt that experience. So this is the exercise I already told you guys to do, but let's go to the after piece to this. So what you guys see here, I'm going to ask you openly, and Jimmy, you can chime in, of course, in the chat box. What do you guys see in this image? Go ahead and type it out. Whatever you guys see, tell me. Everyone, use the chat box. What do you see? Eric says swim lanes. What do you see, Jimmy?
Swimming pool.
Okay, keep going. What else do you guys see? Debbie says under the water swim lanes. Okay, what else do you see? Underwater lanes.
The little floaty things.
Don says Olympic swimming pool. Eric says path, floating things. Those are called lane lines, Jimmy.
Well, I'm not a swimmer. Sorry.
John says competition. This is good. This is really good. Okay. Oops, my share switched. Hold on. There we go. Sorry. I don't know why that just did that. Swimmer's view when racing to the finish line. Oh, I love that, Joe. Look at that. We're getting a little more detailed here. I like it. Okay. So what you guys see in front of you is obviously a swimming pool. That is what this is. And as I mentioned in the very beginning of this call, I swam competitively for 20 years, actually 22 to be exact. I swam for Rutgers. So any of my East Coast people, that is where I actually did my 4 years of college, and grew up in Southern California, born and raised right by Biola. If any of you guys are familiar with the SoCal area, lived there until I was 18 and then went as far away as I could possibly to go to college, on the complete opposite coast. But I swam the mile. So if any of you guys are familiar with swimming, the mile is the longest event on the swimming program, whether you are a male or female. So what that means is I spent a lot of time staring at that black line on the bottom of a pool, a long time. I was always the first in and the last out of every practice, especially in college. We averaged 10 to 12,000 yards or meters, depending on whether we were in the Olympic meter pool or the short course yard pool, which is what you swim in college. Meters is what you swim in the Olympics, or what you guys see on TV. So I spent a lot of time staring at that line, and the mile in a event or in a race is 66 laps in a short course pool, or 16 100s, meaning 16 4-lappers plus a 50 on the end, aka a 2-lapper on the end, creates the mile. But what I discovered over the many years of my career is I actually swam this event backwards. So what does that mean? That means I counted down from 16 100s instead of counting up, right? So normally people would count, oh, I have 16 100s. I've done 1, I've done 2, I've done 3, I've done 4. I did it the opposite way. So I swam the whole thing thinking it in a backwards mind frame or mindset. 1600s. Now I have 15 left. Now I have 14 left, 13, so on and so forth. And what happened is once I crossed the barrier of 10 into the 9, I'm now in the single digits. So I found a second gear at that point. And it was the running joke in my family that if I didn't back half the mile at that point where I didn't start to have an increase in tempo and my splits didn't start to get better, that I wasn't going to do well, because that was just how I swam the race. But fast forward to 2019, which is when I launched Beyond the Method and the program that I now have the pleasure of running every day. Fast forward to that, I was like, okay, well, I want to build this program. I want to teach people how to do this. How do I do that? Well, how do I do what I do every single day? And long story short, I say all of this to you guys to say that I discovered my primary skill. What is Michelle really, really good at? Michelle is excellent at reverse engineering a process, right? At the end of the day, what was my goal? To swim 66 laps and complete the race. How did I do that? I had to reverse engineer the entire thing back to the very beginning and plan how I was going to execute first 100, second 100, third 100, all the way through to the end of the 16. And fast forward to Beyond the Method. Beyond the Method is 100 videos, 27 homework assignments. I mean, it is super, super meaty and thick, right? But how did I build that entire thing? I said, okay, well, Michelle, how am I sitting in this chair today, doing what I do, getting to spend time with the people that I get to spend time with? The answer to that is I had to create a way to reverse engineer how I ended up there. So I know what the result is. And as this relates to social, right? You guys know what you want on social. You want to be able to produce content and generate ROI. That's what we want when we produce content. But what do we have to do stepwise to get to that? That's the conversation that we need to have here. But this is my primary skill, right? Michelle's primary skill is the ability to reverse engineer a problem from I have the solution, I've made it. How do I undo it to get other people there, right? That's my specialty. But what is yours? So most of you here didn't fall into the mortgage industry on purpose necessarily, right? Meaning most of you didn't become originators out of college thinking, I'm going to go be a mortgage LO. Doesn't usually go that way, at least not in my experience of meeting thousands of you, right? So where did you come from? What industry did you come from? What life experience have you had or did you have prior to coming into it? I talk to people every day. I have a teacher that I'm working with right now. She's been doing loans for a little over a year. She left corporate teaching to become an LO. Very, very tangible skill to be able, in my opinion, to be able to take a teacher into being an LO, because she's incredibly gifted at building an outline and making it very consumable for someone, right? That's what teachers do. So Jimmy, while you're on camera, we're obviously going to use you here as our guinea pig, but based off of your experience prior, you were an LO for many years, right? You know how to originate. You've done it all. You can do it right now with your eyes closed, probably. Now you work for Shape, you do other things, but what was your industry? Where did you come from before getting into what you do now?
So it's funny. I started as a loan originator very young. I was 23. Before that, I was in, I guess, long story short, I washed cars at a car dealership, became a detailer at a car dealership, became a salesperson at a car dealership, became a sales manager at a car dealership, and a finance manager at a car dealership, all when I was 21 years old. And literally, I'm the guy that goes in and closes the deal before, like, for the 60-year-old that just can't do it, even though they've been doing it for 30 years. And the credit crunch hit cars first. And I was a manager of a dealership that went from doing 60, 70 cars a month to less than 5. And I lost my job. And then I got into mortgages, because the guy that recruited me told me that I could make $1 million doing loans. So why did I get into it? I think why everybody does, because we want to make a ton of money.
Well,
and I mean, it's super shallow. That's just the truth, though. But
that's not your primary skill.
But then once you get into it, you figure out, wow, I can actually really make a difference in people's lives, and it's really cool to see people at a closing, especially first-time home buyers. It's always cool. And I don't know if you want any more than that,
No,
Michelle, but
you're doing a really good job, but I want to pull you back to the beginning of this, and you described an experience of working at a dealership, and you went from I'm washing cars all the way to now I'm helping people manage their finances as it relates
buy
to.
home. Mm-hmm.
So, but again, the question is, and I want to slow you down and say, what is your primary skill that you brought into your ability to do loans at the level that you ultimately did it at, right? And that's the question that you have to be able to answer. And from what I'm hearing, the first thing, without having more time, more quality time, just me and you to talk through this, the first thing that comes to my mind is customer service, customer experience, right? As at a car dealership, you're cleaning my car to make sure that I love the experience of getting in my car and driving it around, right? You're helping me buy a car. You better be fun to talk to, or else I'm definitely not buying a car from you, right? On the financial side, you better be good at articulating what this means for me if I'm buying a car from you financially, so that I know what I'm getting myself into. So all of that, who are the best salespeople in the world? The people that are relatable and real humans that you want to spend time with. They have a charisma about them that other people don't. So you have that.
I would say I'm able to instantly create trust in a relationship with somebody immediately, and because I detailed cars, I guess I have a high attention to details, and you need that when you're going to be a mortgage loan officer.
So that's your primary skill, your ability to pay attention to intricate details that other people would likely miss. That's your primary skill.
Okay, cool.
Or a primary skill, right? The other one I would say would be the customer experience or customer feeling as they're going through the process. So all of you guys who are listening to this, I really hope that you're getting some of this with me, and you have some ideas on your own. Now, I want to show you a very tactical example. I actually just very recently wrote this for my client in Houston, who has only been in the mortgage space for 1 year, just celebrated his 1-year anniversary, but came out of the oil and gas industry. He lives in Houston. He actually worked in the oil fields as a teenager in high school, ended up working for them most of his adult life up until about a year ago, right? But at the end of his career, he was actually managing and helping build some of the biggest oil and gas companies in the world. So he was traveling all across the world constantly. He was on international planes. When him and I had this conversation, he said he was traveling internationally once a month for weeks at a time, which means he was pretty much never home. So he was constantly going across the world to all these different companies, helping them build their organizations, project management being where he ultimately got to. So he went from I'm working in the oil fields to I'm now helping run and grow some of the biggest ones in the world. So did he not have a primary skill before he came into the mortgage space? He sure did. And he had a really hard time articulating it because he was like, well, how do I market myself as a loan officer when I've never done a loan or I'm new to doing loans? And I said, well, you market your primary skill and people will be attracted to who you are as a person that can then help them solve their problem of buying a home or financing their house, right? So what we ultimately came up with for him is what you guys see in front of us. So if my client Jimmy, actually Jimmy, not you, Jimmy, Jimmy. But this guy's name is Jimmy Rushing. He lives in Houston, Texas. And this is what he says. I'm a loan officer who specializes in big picture thinking and risk management. And I help. I want you guys to write that down. I help. Who do you help? That's a big part of this. And I help clients navigate complex financial decisions with precision and strategy by leveraging my 25 plus years of experience in the oil and gas industry. So big picture thinking, risk management, big picture thinking. What does that mean? Right? That means that he had to take this little piece of information and he had to turn it into this big project that needed to be completed. And all he had would be like a card with 2 sentences on it or a handful of bullet points that the client said, here's my idea, turn it into a project. And that's what Jimmy had to do. Risk management, his ability to see the writing on the wall before it happened. That's what risk management is. Can you figure out where the issues might arise before they even ever happen so that they don't happen or that you mitigate the risk, right? So, and then also important piece here, 25 plus years in the oil and gas industry. Notice that didn't go first. Notice I didn't come out of the gate and say, I have 30 years or I have 25 plus years in the oil and gas industry. So I'm a loan officer who's going to help you leverage, or a loan officer that's going to leverage my 25 plus years of experience to help you do this. Because it's not about us. It's about them. That's really, really important there too. Go ahead, Jimmy.
So I think with this, we mentioned Renee, I'm going to mention him again, is when you say, what do you do for a living? You answer, I'm a loan officer, or in your case, I want to use your example because it actually is even better. Is I help people with social media, or I'm an Instagram expert. Every single loan officer on this call has at least 20 LinkedIn messages from people that they've never talked to in their life from Africa that want to do their social media. Every single person, or India, or somewhere across seas. So so what happens is that when we say I'm a loan officer, it creates a narrative gap, and the narrative gap will get filled by whatever your mind associates with Instagram expert.
That word.
Every single person on my LinkedIn that I've not looked at the message is an Instagram expert, LinkedIn expert, SEO expert. Hey, pay me $5, I'll get you 25,000 likes, or whatever. And that's just what it is. But when you say it like that, it makes a narrative gap where you fill it with, what's my experience with this? Oh yeah, spam in my Facebook and my LinkedIn and all my stuff. So you have to do this, because if you don't, some people, and literally this is nearly 2 decades ago at this point, but the financial crisis of 2007, 2008, people will still associate a loan officer with, oh, you destroyed the economy and it made me lose my job and my livelihood and all this stuff. People will still associate that. And by the way, it's the same thing with CRMs. Oh, I'm a CRM expert. Oh, really? You have a go high level, white label that you're trying to pimp on me? It's the same thing. So you have to articulate this in a specific way. Otherwise, it creates that narrative gap and people are going to assume something.
Well, I think the narrative gap is something that's really important to talk about. And I wasn't planning on talking about that today, but I'm really actually glad that you brought that up, because it is something that I've learned a lot about over the last several years. But again, when you say I own an Instagram marketing company, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Oh, I've spent a bunch of money on something and it's not working. Or, oh, I had this person who promised me the world and under-delivered, right? So if you give them that phrase, to your point, what is the narrative gap? That means unless you tell them exactly what you want them to hear, they will think whatever they want to think. And whatever experience they've had leading up to that creates that. So my final example, I want to go, so here's my before. I own an Instagram marketing company. Here's my final, right? This is now what I say when I shake someone's hand and someone says, hey, Michelle, what are you doing here? Are you a loan officer? Who do you work for? No, actually, I'm here. I'm one of your speakers, and I help real estate and mortgage professionals understand the power of leverage to create opportunity off the Instagram platform. Oh, Michelle, how do you do that? Through the art of active prospecting, right? So the idea by asking or saying it this way is that the person on the receiving end is likely going to do what? They're going to ask me more questions. They're more likely to want to continue the conversation based off of this, because their brain is going to say, how? What do you mean you do that? How? Explain, right? So now I have the opportunity to actually articulate what it is that I actually do and can help them accomplish. So
I want to chime in here. So I think that, so for loan officers mindset, which I have, when you say this, it doesn't sound cringe. But when, for instance, if I were to say to any loan officer listening to this, I help people, like, for instance, let's just say you use Mortgage Coach, you put a TCA together. I help people navigate the intense process of buying a home by helping them choose a financial option that best fits their needs. When I say that out loud, that sounds cringy to me, because when I say it, like I've heard that a million times. I mean, come on. How many loan officers say that same exact thing?
But they don't say it quite as well, but yes.
But what I would say is that to a consumer or someone buying a house that doesn't hear that type of lingo every single day, it does create, it sounds better to them, I guess, is something. So like when you say something that you've heard like all of the greats in the mortgage industry say, you can legit copy it and have it be something that they have never, not one time heard before. So I think that it's important to say that when you create this, sometimes we overthink things and we try to make it sound so super unique that something never, like, make it your own, say it in your own voice. But I think that you can absolutely accomplish, filling the narrative gap with what you want it to be filled with by saying things that you've maybe heard a million times before.
Well, I think paying attention to your primary skill, I want to really like close the loop here, because who are you? What industry did you come out of? What experiences did you have prior to becoming an LO? And what skill set did you acquire by doing so? Right? Jimmy, I guarantee you didn't look at being a car salesman the way that I just explained it to you. I guarantee you didn't. And because of that, you bring that level of expertise or action, like the actions you had to do every single day, you take that into how you treat your clients. Now, saying something like navigating the financial or the complexities of the finances related to buying a home, I can understand that, and I can hear that as somebody who's bought 4 homes, that I know what you're saying. But when you're talking to a first-time home buyer and that's your primary audience, right? I remember I was 24 when I bought my first house. The reason I bought my first house at that age was, 1, I had the money, but 2, I was sick of paying rent, and I got a letter in the mail that said, your rent's going up by $200 because you have a dog. And I'm like, well, no shit, I had a dog. I said I had a dog when I moved in here, but now I got a letter in the mail, right? So if you're talking to me at 24, I didn't know what a pre-approval was. I found a house on Instagram and called the realtor. That's literally how I found my home in 2014.
That's a great story.
It's crazy, right? But also kind of ironic. But the reality is, financially at that point, what I wanted to understand was, how do I take the money that I'm already spending every month and make it go somewhere farther, make it go farther for me as a person, right? So use that phrase. I help you understand how to make your money go farther. Like, I'm interested in that conversation. So who are you talking to also makes a difference. And I could go on a tangent about this forever, but I want to keep us moving because I think it's important. So how do we correlate this into content? So my favorite pillar, lots of people will talk about, hey, what should you be posting on social? And they have their own versions of whatever they have. I think it's just like anything. If any of you guys have ever been athletes or even just in coaching programs, you know that some coaches could say something and it wouldn't land the same, or another coach could say the exact same thing. And you're like, oh my gosh, it makes sense. I get it now, right? That's what I'm talking about here when I say, everyone's kind of got their own flavor of how they want to talk about doing pillars or what their pillars might be. These are what work for me. These are what work for my clients all across the country. So if it works for you, I'm excited and I hope that it's helpful. If not, please ask questions, reach out on Instagram and ask for clarity, like get your questions answered so that you feel confident moving forward and doing something. That's my other goal caveat with anytime I do a webinar is, when you get off of this, I want you to confidently be able to say, I could do something that I didn't know how to do as soon as I got off that, like instantly. Jimmy, how many conferences have you and I been to where we leave and we're like, I don't know did I learn something? I think so, but I don't know what to do. Right.
Right.
And that's a big problem. I go and I'm like, oh, I have all this motivation. I'm inspired, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I don't have any action items to do. So this is where I really want, hopefully you guys feel this action shift happen here, aside from the handshake conversation. So your handshake ties into your primary skill, and what your primary skill allows you to accomplish is creating content for social that serves that purpose, right? So now you are leveraging your primary skill to create content in a way where other people can learn from you. You're solving the I want to educate and add value problem easily. Now, how do we do it in a way that you're not a mortgage talking head? I will tell you, I remember the Fed cut time. I don't even remember how long ago that was. All of my days feel and sound the same. I dropped my son off at school yesterday and I was like, I can't wait for Friday. It's tomorrow, right? And they're like, no, Michelle, it's Wednesday. I had no idea what day it was. Like, my brain just had no idea. So that's how my brain works right now. But the reality of what we're talking about here is what you're seeing in front of you is a very standard Venn diagram. All of you guys have likely seen a Venn diagram like this. They're just 2 circle graphs that mix together, right? And then you have an intersection between the
They
two.
haven't seen it. No, they haven't. They haven't seen it. No, they haven't. They haven't seen it.
Everyone has seen a Venn diagram in school. Come on.
Oh, Venn diagram? I'm talking about this one.
No, not this Venn diagram. This is my Venn diagram, but I'm saying they've seen this type of graphic. Okay. So Thanks, Jimmy. I'm going to throw a tomato at you on my screen, even though I don't have tomatoes up here. All I have is a teriyaki beef stick that I haven't finished.
You could just send a love. You can just send a love my way. Just send a love.
Okay, so in your notes, I want you guys on the left-hand side, right? You can either draw the 2 circles, or if you want to simplify it, just make a T-graph, have 2 columns, one on either side. On the left-hand side, I want you to write down 3 things that you love doing outside of work, right? And you cannot write that you are passionate about work. That's not allowed to go in the passion column. You can also not say family, like just the word family. What I want you to say, if you are passionate about your family, which we all are, right? Is be very specific. So I have a client, and I love using this example, but I have a client in New Mexico, and she has had the same girlfriend group since they went to high school. So they were in high school, they stayed friends all the way through. Now she's in her early 70s, sells like 100 houses a year in New Mexico. It's wild. Like, she's incredible. But every month they have a friendship meeting or meet up, right? They pick a restaurant and they meet up. And then they also have like a girls' night at somebody's house where they do games or crafts or something, right? And every month religiously they do this, which is just wild to me. But it's like the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants in real time, legit. But it's amazing. And so for her, instead of saying family, which her girlfriends are family to her, we said friendship. We got very specific on her love and passion for the friendships that she has in her life. So we just got very specific there. Now, examples. I have a client right now who's doing a series on bourbon. He has a whole bourbon collection in his house, was able to kind of come up with some cool ideas alongside what we're doing here, and he's building a series around his love of bourbon. I have a client up in Fairbanks, Alaska, a loan officer who's doing one on fly fishing. So all 5 of his videos he legit recorded in a fishing boat, fly fishing. Really, really different. I have a client here in Nashville. He is a Jeep guy, has a hardcore off-road Jeep, put a bunch of time and energy and money into making this thing cool. Loves Jeeping, right? So whatever your passions are, I don't care, write it out. I have a client who's doing one on baking, one on doing red wine, like whatever it is, write it down. Doesn't matter. On the other side of the T-graph, I want you to write out where it says expertise. I want you to write out the things that you are really good, aka your expertise, the things you are really good at solving, the pain points of your clients that you are really good at solving. And regardless of which side you're working on, if you're working on your passion side or your expertise side, write down a lot of detail, right? So if you say I'm really good at overcoming DTI issues, what does that mean? Be very specific. Now, I have 2 clients right now who I'm writing, both of them, I'm helping them write series on DTI as their one of their pain points. They're both totally different, because one of my clients is specializes in working with single moms or widowed spouses, right? So single moms, especially, you got different kinds of DTI issues. Are they getting child support? Are they getting payments in some capacity elsewhere? Where are they getting their income from, right? So that's different than your typical move up buyer, husband and wife that wants to buy a new, bigger home that might have different DTI issues. So when you say DTI, get very, very specific on what kind of issues you are overcoming if you say that overcoming that is something you're good at. The way I would articulate it is 3 to 4 sentences. Can you be super specific in 3 to 4 sentences explaining what it is that you are really good at solving? On the passion side, same thing. If you say running, if you say bourbon, which Don said he loves bourbon, okay, write down 4 sentences. Why do you love bourbon so much? And I mean, like, get into it. Like, really get into the weeds of why you love this thing. 3 to 4 sentences. Think paragraph. The intersection of those 2 things is where your content comes into play. What are you passionate about? What are the things that you are really good at solving? We combine the 2 things into a series. This is what is called value series. Also, anybody who has ever trademarked or tried to trademark anything, this was freaking annoying. It took 2 years to get value series trademarked, but we officially did it. But that's a side note, me just being distracted. But value series as a whole is one topic for the entire month, divided into 5 sub-questions. Each of those 5 sub-questions is its own video of 40 to 60 seconds. And this is where you get to have credibility. This is where you get to add value and do your educating and do all the things that you want to do, because we're talking about very specific mortgage-related issues. But we are leading with connection first. Question, Jimmy, have you ever opened up LinkedIn? Or I guess let me back up. I'm going to do it a different way. What do you see when you open LinkedIn right now? What's the thing that you see the most?
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
What
Like
kind of
post?
content? What kind of content do you see?
I mean, I see content that I've interacted with. Is that what you're asking? Like what kind?
Not what I'm
Like,
asking. What type of content are you seeing being posted?
I don't think I'm the right person to ask because
Okay, well, I'm just going to answer the question for sake of time.
answer it. Answer it.
So when I open LinkedIn, I see your typical mortgage content, right?
Oh, yeah.
Meaning here's what's going on with the interest rates. Here's what's going on in mortgage market news. Here's what's going on with the Fed cut. Here's this graphic that my in-house marketing team made and just shoved out for me, right? That's the content I see. Now, what I want to say, disclaimer, is it's not bad content. You're not doing anything wrong, right? But you're not creating content in a way that's designed to connect with someone to make them stop scrolling. You're just not. You're just adding more of the same thing to a platform that's already oversaturated with it. When I woke up the morning after the Fed cuts, I had to turn my Instagram notifications off because I was so sick of looking at Instagram, because every LO that I follow, every single one of them was posting the same exact video saying the same thing as every other loan officer. Again, not bad information, very valuable, very much so with the intention of educating, but not designed to connect. It was designed to sell first. What were you going to say, Jimmy?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where I would say that if it's a one-on-one thing, you can say something that maybe everybody else has said, but when it's on social, you can't read the same script that everybody else has read. I mean, you can't do it. It's got to be different and it's got to be unique. It should be more of like, look, this is what happened. Everybody's talking about it. This is what it means to me, and like, and I would argue as well, like my industry, CRM stuff, talk about like, bore fest. Have you ever been to a lead summit, a lead conference? Like, it's everyone there is a nerd level 10 and like on their phone, not talking to anybody, It's just
Yeah,
like,
well, I wanna keep us pushing forward here, because I think
sorry, I'm distracting you, but we're
No, it's
also
okay.
going to ask some questions. Ask questions in the chat because I'm going to fire. I'm going to go. I'm going to ask Michelle.
I'm gonna stop after this slide and give you guys plenty of time to ask questions. Luckily, my best friend is bringing my son home from school today, so I don't have to race off of here. So that's good. But the tangible thing here is, when you create this series, what is the point, right? And this is really where I want to hit home. The point is, you can share the same value that you want to. You can share the same information, but you can do it in a way that really, really creates connection first. And this massive amount of relatability, all tied into authenticity. I hear that word being thrown around a lot right now. Like, are you authentically showing up? One of my superpowers, I think, my husband doesn't love it, but I'm incredibly good at being vulnerable, right? I love being able to openly talk about things that I've gone through, because I feel like I have a platform to be able to help other people, right? In November, if you guys are not consuming my content, you won't know this, or if you don't know me personally, November, I went through an incredibly traumatic miscarriage where, like, talk about depression, like, people don't talk about that. And it was the worst 6 weeks of my life, without a doubt. And being able to share that publicly and being able to create content that I can connect with people on a personal level while also solving their social problems and what they need to be doing on this platform, it's like the biggest unlock. Like, I feel so powerful being able to do that because I'm connecting with people first. I'm not selling to them first, right? So what you're doing here with creating content tactically, right? You're taking a passion, you're taking a pain point, you're combining the two things into a 5-part series. We use ChatGPT here. I love this ChatGPT prompt I came up with. And my clients love doing it. Like, I have clients who just like really look forward to building their next series because they love this process. So, and I saw someone comment in the chat about, oh, I need to do a series of me grilling or smoking meat. I have a client right now, a loan officer in Nashville, who's doing a smoking meat series, and he's doing it from the perspective of what seasoning do you pick based off of what type of meat you want to smoke, and how that relates to a client, and how you have to choose different loan options based off the different person and what they're going through and what their scenario might be. So it's a badass series that I'm really excited to see him actually roll out. But he has 3 different types of smokers. He has a Pit Boss, a Green Egg, and a Traeger. So being able to showcase all 3 and combine it. Now, my point in saying that and why I wanted to hit that home is, when he records these 5 videos, he's going to post them on LinkedIn. He's going to post them as a YouTube short. He's going to post them on Instagram and on his personal Facebook. And that's going to be the content that someone's going to stop and actually listen to it. And if you do your video scripts correctly, you're going to also weave all of this super valuable mortgagee related information into it, but people are going to watch the whole thing because it's not about mortgages out of the gate, right? The first sentence out of your mouth, if you've ever been amplified, Jimmy, I know you understand this. What is the first thing out of our mouth? It's called the hook. It's the most important thing you can say in the entire video. How you do that is whether or not someone's going to watch the rest of the video or not. Most people, when they create video content on social, they're creating a hook about mortgages instead of creating a hook about something that's related to the passion first that makes me want to keep watching the rest of the video to get to the meat of the mortgage piece. You got to hook me with something other than the same thing that everybody else is saying. Average watch time for Instagram videos across the platform is 3 seconds. My clients average 8 to 12, upwards of 14 to 16 in their videos. Why? Because people want to see the content and it's so much different than what the rest of the platform is providing them. So it's a huge, huge unlock. Now the prompt is here. I know we don't really have time for this, so I'm just going to scoot forward here and give you some examples. These are going to play, and I don't know why that does that every single time, but this is my Jeep friend, Jonathan, guy who has a sick Jeep, and all 5 of his videos, he's actually out in front of his Jeep in his driveway in different angles and different locations of it, but all 5 of them recorded in under an hour, all with his Jeep behind him. My friend Steve on the right, he is the #1 recruiter for the company that he works for. He doesn't originate anymore at all. And he's in the executive leadership side of things. So his goal is specifically to just create brand awareness. All 5 of his videos, where is he? He's on a hockey rink, right? So also his first 3 videos, he recorded in this suit outfit. The second or the last 2 videos, I actually made him redo because the Zoom I was on with him, he was wearing a black hoodie, like a black zip up hoodie with a hat on backwards. And I was like, what do you wear when you go to the hockey rink, Steve? Because I was like, I'm assuming it's probably not a suit and a button down shirt. He goes, I wear what I'm wearing right now because I actually just came from there. And I was like, great. Next time you go, you're going to go re-record the last 2 and you're going to do it in the outfit you're in right now, the things you would normally wear at the hockey rink. Why? Because it is freaking relatable. Like, we are going to be more inclined to believe what Steve says when he's in the passion piece of the analogy and he's actually embodying the image that he's putting out. So I have so much more I could say about that, but I'll leave it there. The passions, I'll end on here. Your passions, right? The things that you want to incorporate into your videos and your content then becomes the foundation of how you prospect. So if you remember in the very beginning of this conversation, I asked you guys the question of, are you who you say you are? If I send you a message because I saw you posted something about running, or I saw you post about something related to grilling or whatever it is, and you click on my profile and you don't see anything related to what I just had a whole conversation with you on in your DMs, I am not who I say I am. So think about that again, right? If I see Jimmy posts, which he used to do F45. I don't know if you still do or not, Jimmy, but I was a diehard F45 person while I was pregnant with Knox. So I relate to Jimmy on this. But right now, today, if I was doing F45, but I didn't post about it anywhere, but I saw Jimmy post about it and I sent him a message and I say, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like, I remember doing this entire time I was pregnant. I still go 5-6 days a week. It's my favorite place to go. If he clicks on my profile and doesn't see a single thing anywhere about me doing anything related to F45, he is out, right? So again, am I who I say I am? Because intuitively, what do? Someone sends us a message that we don't know. We click on their profile and we look at them. Who is this person? Are you who you say you are? That's what that really comes down to. So your passions that tie into your content also become the foundation of how you prospect. So if you're trying to prospect on the platform, but you don't have the foundation of content, it's not going to work. At least it won't work the way it should.
There's a question, and I forgot to ask it in the spot in the
that's
moment.
fine. Go ahead.
And this is more to do with your, like, hey, what do you do? Sure. Is there a way to be more concise with the message?
Like shorter?
I think concise. That's how I would take it, unless Brad wants to chime in a little bit more detail.
So the way I would take that is like concise meaning shorter, right? It's a simpler sentence. Right. The answer is yes, but we just have to talk through it, right? So Jimmy's is a little bit, the example I gave is a little bit long as far as like what would go in his bio on Instagram, but is it too long for what he would say if he shook someone's hand in real life? No. So I have a longer answer if I'm, writing out an email. If someone sends me an email and says, "Hey, Michelle, I want to work with you, but can you be more specific on what it is exactly that you do?" Right. I have that longer answer, but if I'm shaking someone's hand in person, I don't have that much time to read them a paragraph like I would in an email. So yes, you can certainly either add to it or make it shorter. There's lots of different ways to do that, but I think it is a personal conversation that needs to be had. You have to adjust to the circumstance, I guess, is a better way of saying that. Because your I help sentence on Instagram is 150 characters. You don't have very much space, so it has to be very concise, as opposed to shaking someone's hand in real life. You can be longer. Email, you can be way longer.
Right. And you know what I would do is I would write the whole thing out, like the big one, and then I would probably put it into GPT and just be like, hey, make this shorter, make it 150 characters.
That's literally what Brad just said in the Zoom chat. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Also,
I don't like using Chat GPT for
Right.
everything personally, because I really also want it to make sure it's me. But don't get me wrong, we use Chat GPT like nobody's business over here, but we just don't use it for every single thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a starting block, it gives you an idea of how
It's
you
a
could make it
springboard.
more concise, and then you make it not a robot talking,
1000%. It's an amazing springboard. That's exactly what it's designed to be. It's designed to get you off the, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And at least now I have some semblance of a direction or a framework to work off of, but then you got to put you into it. So I'll leave that there. If anybody has any questions, I can hang out with Jimmy and answer them. If you guys want to come back on camera or raise your hand or whatever, we can do that. But other than that, that QR code will take you guys to my calendar. If you want to have a further conversation one-on-one, I'm happy to do so. But ultimately my big goal, homework assignment wise, is, really understanding who are you? What's your handshake? What do you say when someone shakes it and says, "What do you do for a living?" And then how do you create a value series based off of that, that creates connection first and doesn't sell first. I think that's the big, huge takeaway that I really want you guys to have.
I think just to plug Michelle a little bit more, I think that you really do offer a great service. It's not just about creating videos. It's going to also be about, you also offer services to actually, reach out to people that are already followers, to create business out of people, you have a lot of offerings, as I guess what I want to get out. And Michelle's very well respected. There's a lot of top producers that work with Michelle. We've been friends for a while. I mean, of course I want to, plug you, but also, there's a lot of other people that use Michelle, have a ton of success with Michelle, and I would highly recommend, if you're considering the service, to reach out to her.
I second that. Well done, Michelle. And I had to handle some stuff on the back end, but I have a lot of notes because you simplify things, which is really cool. And stuff that even we try to teach our team, and some of them are on this call, about like, well, how do you answer that question? What you do? And is it unique to anyone else? Like Jimmy said, I'm a loan officer. Oh, okay.
You
So
and 1,000 others.
There's still 93,000 of you left out of 450,000. So you have to be unique. And I like that you broke it down to where how we can make it seem unique based on who we are, not posing, because people, like you said, when you look at stuff, you're like, that's not that person, or what do they even mean by that? Or are they just trying to, like, make noise? So I love what you put together, and it's very smart, because our industry, LinkedIn's huge. I mean,
Right.
more than Facebook. Facebook's just for connecting with friends, which we all should do and stay in front of them so you have opportunities. But our industry, a lot of it is actually LinkedIn, and it's a great educational platform. So thank you for sharing all you did. Nicely done. And I wish you had more energy. What the hell? I thought
go work
Jimmy and
on
I
that.
were bad.
No, I appreciate it
energy,
for sure. It's
If I'm not talking much, there's
right?
some of us in there,
Right.
yeah.
You were able to shut up Jimmy. That's tough.
hey, I know Jimmy okay-ish. Not amazingly, but like enough where I can be dangerous. So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's true.
No, thank you very much. And hopefully you guys reach out. Yeah, throw some love out there for all that Michelle was willing to share, which is really cool. I mean, I'm sure you got some great value. Like I said, I know I did. Michelle, love having you part of our community. We're going to follow you, share more of your info, have you back on. Hopefully we'll get you at our event. Speaking of event, hopefully you guys take advantage. We had what's cool about our event, Michelle and Jimmy, you'll like, is instead of just signing up and waiting till October, we're starting the journey now, meaning you're going to get added value immediately with special newsletters about how to do certain things. We're going to have strategic calls every single month with either myself, Todd Duncan, and Gino, Jimmy's, some of our speakers, and Michelle, to continually build that momentum so you're ready to rock and roll by the time October hits. So we're going to add value throughout the entire time. We're going to give you a free 90-day trial subscription to Fuel, which is a microdosing app that is a performance app. You'll love it, Michelle. You just get these little master classes that are easy to just microdose on, kind of like Netflix. It's amazing. So there's a lot of value being added. I'm sure we have a special right now, right, Sonia? Because prices will continue
Where are the
to
deals
go up.
at, Don? Where are the deals at?
What is the deal at?
Right? And we have a special deal right now because you also get a special limited edition Momentum Builder gift. So we'd love you to sign up now. Start the journey now. Save your tickets. This will sell out. We're getting groups of companies that are blocking sections by the hundreds. So this is going to be very exciting. We just checked out the location. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be not just an event, but an experience. And we're even going to hand you, as I mentioned in the chat, you're going to get actually an implementation playbook from each speaker. So like Michelle says, sometimes you don't know what to do when you go to these events. You're like, wow, I got a lot of notes, but what next? We're going to give you that. So each speaker is going to go, here's what I talked about, here's the highlights, and here's what you do next. So you can walk away and change your life, personally and professionally. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jimmy. Hopefully you jump on our next few calls every